very sorry for the wait. I have had a day with login, as I'm sure you guys also have, but it hasn't been one of the good days. Let me quickly mute this here. And thank you for all of you who are already here. I can see Rami, Burhan, Mohammed, thank you guys for joining. And what we're going to be doing, as we did last month, is jumping straight into member Q&A. And then from there, we're going to jump into your questions here. So please do feel free to drop those in the comment box right here as we go through. I will get to those just straight after some of the content I prepped for this, which I like to go over in the beginning, particularly some of the questions I think that will be very related to a lot of you. I want to cover a bit of that first. So I'm going to share with you the screen. And let me find it exactly. This one. And so I just want to make sure you can see this fine. Okay, perfect. So we're going to be running through some of these and then straight into your questions there. But I want to speed through these because last time I found that we didn't have that much time for everyone's questions outside of this. So I've only selected the very best ones to go through first here. And then we're going to get into yours. But member questions first and then our open Q&A. And please do remember to smash like on this. That gets it out to more people. And all of the members, a big thank you to you as well for allowing us to do these publicly because they are actually part of the YouTube membership. And if you do join that, there's a lot more you can find as well. But you can learn more about this in the description below. And let's start with the member questions. I'm also going to link all of the resources that you might find helpful off of this, as well as certain videos that we cover, all in the description as well. So it's easy for you to jump to those. I want to start with Num's question here, which is what are the must-have and minimum third-party services? And he actually says there's lots of YouTube videos about these different things, but I'm not sure if they're honest or sponsored, which is also a good concern. So I want to give you the absolute minimum that you need, and then some of my other recommendations as well. But absolute minimum, you're going to need some type of product research software and some type of keyword research software. Of course, you still need to do like your manufacturing and shipping. But if you have these two, that's going to allow you to cover most of it. Of course, then you're going to do your own product photography, etc. But that's your bare minimum. And then the next most important, in my opinion, would be accounting or accountants themselves. You should have something for reviews. And I recommend Requester Reviews, probably the highest converting system currently. Then product photography, because we know images sell. That's the most important part. Inspections, of course, because of quality. In fact, if you do good inspections, you're probably going to outperform most of your competitors these days. And then a 3PL. That helps with scaling and not having too much risk with your inventory in Amazon's warehouses, but it also allows you to replenish easily and also grow through other sales channels. But bare minimum would be these two here. And then Rami, could you walk us through how you evaluate review counts on the first page? And I love this one because it is very confusing and you have all these different metrics. And so I want to focus or just share with you what to focus on or what I focus on. Number one is you have to ensure that you search the highest search volume keyword that's relevant for your exact product. For example, candle making jars, and there's a way you can find this to be the highest search volume one. And I actually showcased that in a video, which I'm going to put in the pinned comment below this video. It was our latest release. We released it 2 days ago. Definitely watch that because it's going to show you how to find this keyword. but you have to be searching that keyword because it shows you the market in its entirety. That's very critical. But once you do that, look at the first organic line of results. So you can see there's no sponsored here. This is organic. It means they make so many sales, Amazon's putting them at the top because they believe customers searching this keyword will choose these because they've been chosen so much before. That's why they're organically ranking here. So off of that, knowing these sell the most, it's important to look at the reviews of your first organic line because you can then establish, for example, here, well, it's selling within the top 4 most selling items for this keyword, our major keyword, and it only has 88 reviews. So, and we'll dig more into why that's important. As a general rule, and this is a very general rule, italicized, don't like make your whole decision on this, but it's just like if you want to get the quickest snapshot of how reviews on this first line indicate competition. If your first organic line are all above 500, that's extremely competitive. All above 300 is high. Any between 100 and 200 on that first line, that's medium competition. And then any below 100 would be lower competition. And that's simply based on the fact that when you start selling, you're going to have lower reviews. So that is that relationship. And again, it's just a very general rule because you could have 500 across the board here. And on the second line of organic results, you have 2 under 100 reviews. Of course, you need to factor that in. So it's not a set rule. It's just a quick guide, which I know a lot of people enjoy. The other thing is I pay no attention to this number here, average reviews. And this is mainly because not all products are direct competitors. And if you find it helpful to do this, what you can do is just remove the irrelevant products to what you are trying to build. So if you're building candle jars, candle making jars, then in your Chrome extension, you can remove candle tins because those are not candle jars. And you can remove candle making kits. Again, they're not the same product. And so you can see how the average review count can be a bit skewed. But also, once you've done this, you're looking at quite an optimized market. And then you can draw insight. For example, here, we see one of the listings has 1,000 reviews, 1,400 sales. The other one has 88 reviews and 1,300 sales. So very, very close. And from this, we can draw a conclusion that customers buy a higher priced, lower reviewed offer for a reason other than reviews. And your job is simple. You have to find what that reason is. It's not review count, it's something else. And you need to build a product that even better serves that specific need and the market. So that's the better way. Well, that's the way I look at reviews and the relationships of reviews rather than, trying to make a decision based on like average review counts. That's much more extrapolated. It's much more like further away from really what's happening in the market. So I hope that's helpful. The key is the more of that relationship you see, low reviews sell well, the better. For example, another loose rule is if you can find 3 sellers on page 1, they have less than 100 reviews, but are selling over 300 sales. And we can see that here almost. And that's why I say it's a loose rule, because at the bottom we see, 41 reviews, that's under 100, 234, that's not quite 300. But then again, in the first one, they're selling almost 1,300. So you can see it's just a loose rule. But in some markets, you might find 8 competitors like this. And of course, that's even higher potential. So that's more how I look at reviews. And I just want to make sure you guys can see everything. Perfect. And hello, everyone else who's joined. That's awesome. Lots of people. So, and we will jump back to your questions in a second. But Yara Liz also asked about her first campaign. She just started it. She used PPC part 1. That's also linked below. But the campaign ran out of money. Should I raise the campaign budget? It's in a very competitive market. Any advice for people who jump into saturated markets? Concentrating on one product to gain experience. I want to focus on that part for a second. That's really, really important. If you're ever jumping into something, a new market, or just FBA in general, start with one product, get experience, make mistakes on one rather than on 4 products at once. So that's very smart. But in terms of this, Yarilis, what I would say, number 1, best main image possible. Start with that, because a lot of people, when the campaign's not working, they look at keywords and they think there's some like secret advertising strategy that's going to solve it. But the ads are simply putting your product in front of customers. Something's not working when it's in front of customers. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a keyword or ad function. It could be your listing, and very often it is your listing. So start with that. Best main image possible. You can also split test it or just create new versions and test them. Attractive price. Also very important at the beginning, because you don't have a lot of reviews. You have to give customers a different reason to buy your product. A good price, that's a good reason. And then add a coupon clipping. I always recommend 5% off, because it's often less than $5 off, and it doesn't amount to that much, but it gives you that marketing benefit of having another badge on the front of the listing, and that can boost conversion. And then you can also generate sales through lesser used keywords. So find less competitive PPC keywords, or you could even try product targeting ads. Although in my experience, but it could be for, my specific niche, but these do not do that well. But I've seen other sellers have great success with them. So it really is niche dependent on this one. And then on your budget, the key thing is have your campaign run at least 60% of the day. Doesn't have to run 24 hours a day, but have a good majority of the day, because then over the 2 weeks you get good data, and then you can focus, take action, and optimize. But you do want to get good data over the 2 weeks. And then lastly, just as like a random extra, is you could look at influencer launches using Amazon Live with like a rebate influencer campaign, for example. Out of all the launch or external launch strategies, this is one of the most cost effective. And some people see it as like PPC 5 years ago when it wasn't so costly. And we might see a bigger shift toward it as PPC spends are quite high. So it's something else to look at because it is new. And then Chris, how can you build a pre-launch audience, grow your brand awareness during launch, but also past launch as you continue selling your product? What are the strategies here? So I've got a few. Number 1 is forums. This is great. You can find some like super dedicated, hobbyists or professionals in your niche industry on certain forums, and then discuss. And this is usually a place where they discuss that hobby, profession, problem, and then you open discussions and ask for insight there. You can also even maybe you want to run your own survey and incentivize them in some way for filling out that survey. I wouldn't do like a direct payment to do the survey, but it could be something like future coupons for when the brand launches, or limited edition, etc. And then market research platforms. So you could use platforms like Helpful, and those are going to allow you to ask your target market specific questions. So you can actually target exactly who that question is for. Or it could be, if we use Yarili's example, If you have two main images, you can split test and ask your exact market on helpful, and they'll tell you. But this is another way you could test product design in your case. Crowdfunding like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, that drives a huge amount of buzz, especially for like a new type of product. This is huge if you get it right, Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And then influencer marketing is massive as well. Social media brand channels. So that's building your own social channels, but choose where your audience, where do they hang out online, and build on those social channels specifically. And then at first, you can just begin sharing helpful content and insights in your niche, but then later you have a warm audience in which you can launch the product to as well. And Shannon, do I have to register a trademark with USPTO to be able to register brand registry? And if I don't register a trademark, does that impact my sales? So for brand registry, you need a trademark in the country where you're selling. So if you sell Amazon.com, that's US, you need a US trademark. It's wherever you make sales. So in this case, yes, from USPTO. But if you don't register a trademark, it's not going to directly impact sales. Like Amazon won't penalize you for that, for not doing it. However, you won't have access to certain features like A+ content, sponsored brands ads, etc. You won't have the brand registry features. So in that way, there could be like an indirect impact where you could make more sales because of those features, but you aren't penalized in any way. And then Hussein, can you make a video talking in depth on how to evaluate a product or market? Yes, please check the video below. I haven't pinned it just yet, but it is the one we posted 2 days ago. This Tuesday we posted it, and I did this exact thing. So that will help the most there. And the same for Rami. Is there a way to spot a new developing niche or product? Also, definitely check that video. However, on this one, I want to pull out 2 examples from that video. There's 2 developing niche examples in there. These niches are in their infancy. And the first type is a new to Amazon product. And it's actually this product here. You can see it in the first 3 images here. It's this kit. But what we see on the first page, remember it's our strongest keyword, we see a lot of product breakup. You can see all the orange highlighted ones here. These are different products to that keyword because it's a kitsungi repair kit. And all of these orange are not actually that. So we're seeing different products appear on page 1 immediately. And that's product breakup, which is going to indicate it's a new to Amazon product. It's not that competitive. It's in its infancy. There's not many competitors. So that's the first way you can find this. If you see breakup on page 1 of your strongest keyword. But there's another example in that video as well, which is the new to world product. And it's actually this product over here. And this is like a crochet hook set. But this product is one of a kind on Amazon. None of the other products on the page are like this one because this one solves 2 problems for the customer, while every single other product on the page solves one or the other problem. So it is a fusion of this product, which is a crochet hook set, and then another product not shown here, which is a crochet stitch counter. So it actually counts the stitches as you do crochet. None of these count. This one is the hook set and counts on this little screen you see here. So it's a new fusion of the 2 problems into one product, and it's the only one here. So this could be a new to world product where it's the first time this is ever coming out. And of course, it's new to Amazon as well. But that's another way where you actually see there's like 1 or 2 of a brand new version of product, which either fixes a problem differently or fixes multiple of the problems for the first time by itself. But that is another example. But definitely watch that video if you're interested in this type of stuff. And open Q&A. So let's jump straight to that. Let me stop sharing here. And there we go. Perfect. And sorry, it's a little bit, my lighting is a little bit dark here. But thank you everyone in the chat. I want to make sure I can see. Cool. And Kati, Gocho, and everyone else who's joined us. Awesome to see you, and thank you so much for joining. I enjoy these lives. It feels more interactive with you guys. So thank you for joining. And thank you, Juliet. Rush, problems with shipping. Yes, I think we all do. It's not a good time for shipping prices. Okay, and Kati asks, I can show this here. I'm going to be launching my first PPC campaign. How can I determine the budget per day? 60 or 50 or $100? What should it be? It's very difficult to say exactly. Most markets these days are quite competitive. If it's one of those that's going to be $100 budget. If it's more niche, it could be around maybe $60. Most of the time you're going to run out of the budget, though. Amazon will use your budget, but with $100, you should get very good data in most markets. It just really depends how competitive it is. If you, like in some niches, if you have competitors bidding like $9 on a keyword, you can imagine $100 is going to get eaten up very quickly, because if you get like 10 clicks on your product, $10 a click, that's $100. So it really just depends. The other thing you can choose to do is day parting, which I think is going to become much bigger, which is I want to only run my campaign during a specific period of the day. And this is something I've actually been testing for a little while, but I'm going to share more on it properly once the test is done. But you have to try identify when your market buys most and then set the campaign for then. As an example, mattress companies, they sell at nighttime because that's when people hate their mattress. So that's just one idea, but that way at least your spend is being used at the best possible time. So, but Kati, if I had to guess, 100. One thing, if you have a problem, go to your bed and sleep. That's fitting with mattresses. And Kati, can I put all of my variations on the main image? So what you don't want to do is kind of false advertising. If it looks like let's say you have 3 variations, you don't want to have it so you have all 3 in the image and it looks like a 3-pack, because it's not a 3-pack. But what you may have seen on some listings is people almost have like a little color palette just on one side, like a top corner of an image, and it'll be like red, blue, green, but it just is like a little color palette. That's something you could test, but I wouldn't have them all in one image, if that makes sense. It shouldn't look like a 3-pack, for example. And Gulade, I am a new seller and I made a few sales already under PPC. I'm wondering how I can increase sales. So I think if at the beginning of this, I would follow the same steps as we covered. Let me check it quickly. But we covered for the one question. Yeah, for Yarali's question on best main image, very good price, add a coupon clipping, 5% off or more. Influencer marketing is a big one. If you do want to run Amazon Live with influencer marketing, you can check out Rebate as well. I'll also link them below. But that is another way you can drive more sales. So you're increasing your on Amazon sales because you're just going to convert better, but then you can also drive sales from offline. And thank you, Burhan. And this one, Burhan, if I have brand registry in one country, can I have a storefront in all marketplaces with one unified account? Although I only have brand registry in one marketplace. This is a really good question. And the truth is, I don't know. So because it's changing, it's very difficult to say. In the past, what you could do is have, for example, in the one instance, I had a UK trademark and I was able to use it in North America. And then it seemed to get taken away, that like privilege. So it appears they are working on not allowing it, but sometimes it works. Then there's other cases where sellers have told me they've actually contacted Amazon with, for example, their UK trademark, and Amazon has said, that's totally fine. You can have North American brand registry with that. So it really is case dependent. It appears that it's more likely that you will be able to have this than not. So that's the insight I have on this specifically. Yeah, I think that's the gist of your question. I mean, you can definitely sell on all accounts with a unified account, even without brand registry. That's fine. But having the brand registry benefits, that is touch and go. But I would be more on the positive side of yes. But it could change. And car, is it necessary to buy a course? It's not necessary. It really just depends on you. So if you're a self-starter, willing to go out there, learn everything from all the different places, like our channel, other resources, and pull it together and make the journey, that's great. In other cases, you might want a community, people you can bounce ideas off of, and literally like a step-by-step syllabus, so you don't miss like one thing or make any mistakes as you go. Well, I mean, there's always mistakes in business, but you limit them massively, then a course is beneficial. It also does depend on budget, if you have the budget for it. But in some cases, people are spending, 10,000 plus on inventory, and then the price of education is low. So it really just depends on you. But I will link the one I teach with below as well if you are interested in learning more there. And there's some cool stuff I will share on that soon as well. But it's not necessary to be successful with this. It just does fast track you and limit mistakes. And Dean, hi Dan, I followed your advice and have a £50 product ready for launch and it's high quality. Is it a good strategy to set a premium price from day one? No. So, and I love this question because this is a mistake people often make, but start a bit lower for a couple of reasons. The first one being that at this point, you don't have many reviews. You don't have any reviews. So it's a very good time to give people a different reason to buy your product, i.e. a lower price. But secondly, this is the time in which you might have Vine voices or even just normal customers purchase your product. And they're going to look at, okay, what did I get? What did I pay? And that's how they determine value. How good a value is this purchase? And so if they gave up less to get this product, the value is higher, better deal, better reviews. And your first initial reviews are obviously the most important. Because if your first review is like a 1-star, it looks really bad on the listing. So that's absolutely key, is those first few reviews. Then, once you have a few, if you do get a 1-star, it doesn't absolutely just destroy that rating. Lots on this. So Dead Man Walking. Dan, please say a few words on how much at least one should spend on PPC for their first product launch. So this is such a hard question, but I might even make content on this because it's coming up so often. I'll have to test a few things though. It's very difficult to say because it depends so much on the market. However, I would say if I had to give a ballpark, you're going to be spending $100 a day as your budget. That I think is a good, reasonable ballpark. And remember, you don't have to spend that much. You could spend $50, but your ads are not going to run as often. It's that, but 100 for most niches is going to work well and give you, reasonable placement. I'd say you'd show up more than 50% of the day, which is what you need, especially in the beginning, so you can at least get your data. So if you wanted to create a budget for it, because remember, eventually your sales will pay for PPC spend. It will come straight out of your sales, which is the default setting. So you're not going to need extra money to keep doing that. But at first, when you don't have a balance, you might. So I would want to have like a $200 little budget or buffer for this. That gives you a good 10 days, 2 weeks to advertise without budget, which you should make sales within, and then it will come out of the sales. And you got it, Shannon. This is a great question because it's related to that product we looked at. But how do you estimate, Jordan Lee, how do you estimate demand for a new product idea no other sellers in the niche are selling? This is very much like that one we took a look at. And let me see, maybe I should bring that up, but I'm not going to switch screens now, but basically that product, if you look just at the beginning of this video, that is a crochet hook set, but then also the crochet stitch counter. And the best way to look at demand is that even though products are new, there's going to be old versions, variations, or ways of fixing that same problem, even if they look really different. So what you need to see is search volume for the problem overall. And this new product, unless it's like a complete innovation, like a new keyword, like basically a new problem for people, that problem will have search volume. So that indicates demand. And then what you need to make sure of is this new product serves that demand better. That's the key. But you will usually, in like 90% of cases, be able to find demand through search terms for very similar products, or not similar products, but for products that serve a similar need and solve a similar problem or help the customer achieve a similar goal. And then it's whether the new version is better, which we do see with the crochet hook set and counter. That one is selling the most on that whole page, and it's the only one on Amazon. So it serves the need better. But there aren't even keywords for that exact product yet. It's because all the demand is being driven through the same problem, but a slightly different keyword for the existing product. Now it's about educating customers about the new product. Then the keywords come, then everyone finds the product. But that should help, Jordan Lee. Gocho, how important is it to get organic certification for organic products before sale? Probably very important. It just depends on the product type and niche, whether it's restricted by Amazon. Sometimes you won't be able to sell it if it's restricted before you provide that certification. So definitely very important. Another thing is how you advertise. I'll drop a link for this below, but even saying like environmentally friendly, there's actually like laws against that unless you have certain proof and certification of it. And Amazon is actually quite strict with it. So just keep that in mind when you're ever writing certain statements. Just be careful of that. I'll drop a link below. Thank you. Thank you, Remy. And thank you, Remy, also. You've been a subscriber for like the whole time. And Ruhi, I just discovered a random seller latched onto my listing. How can we take care of this? So the number one is buy their product. So buy their product, receive it, and see if it's the same as yours or different. If it's the same, that means they've somehow got your inventory. So maybe you ran like a coupon. Sometimes sellers do this. They run a coupon clipping and they don't limit it, and people buy up like 100 of their units at a discount, and then they sell it on the listing. But in most cases, it's going to be a different, slightly different product. And in that case, it doesn't match the product detail page, and you can report it to Amazon, because that is against Amazon TOS. It must match the detail page exactly. Another way around this is if you offer a warranty, doing private label, you're seen as the manufacturer, and only the manufacturer can offer the warranty. And you could redeem it from your insert card or some other way, but another seller can't do that. So again, they cannot fulfill the full purchase because you offer that on the detail page. Again, a problem with Amazon. So that's what I would do. But Ruhi, it may be that someone's just got one or two of your products and are just reselling them. Also, if you see it's an Amazon warehouse deal, like you'll see Amazon warehouse as the other seller, that's absolutely fine, because that's maybe just a return that got damaged, they repackaged, and then they sell it under your listing. And you got it, Kati. And Rum, definitely watch the video in the pinned comment. I'll drop that below. And I'm not trying to just direct you guys to another video, I promise. It's just literally like I take you through the entire process, and we posted it 2 days ago. So it's right now. That's exactly how I would do it. And you should be able to find some super niche products using that strategy. And Shannon, is it wise as a new seller to invest in branding, package design with a freelance on Fiverr, or do I wait to see if the product sells? The problem is that this will make the product sell. So yes, I always recommend the full thing, because it's almost more risk by not doing a good job with your branding and packaging and differentiating, because now you have something so similar to everything else that's there. You've got a problem, because now the only way you're better than a competitor is with a lower price. And that's like literally what you want to fight against. So yes, I always recommend find something you see high potential and you really want to build. You see a better way to build it and go full. And make sure it just leaps off that page, that customers will buy it. Professional photography, is it a must? No, it's not a must, but you have to have a good camera then. Most like smartphones these days have a good enough camera, honestly, but you will have to spend a good amount of time doing the images. I've done some of my own images and they look great after some editing. So another way, Rami, is you can actually take your images yourself and then just have an editor make them beautiful. Or you can go fully by yourself, take them and edit them yourself. The big thing I'd say is take your time. That's the thing. Do not rush the images, because the images are everything. Like, someone cannot pick the product up. All they can do is look at the images. It's like the most crucial thing. But product photography, it's not an absolute necessity, but of course, especially if you're not going to do a good job with the images, then it's a must. So yeah, but if you can spend a lot of time on them, it's not a must. How do you decide on the best image stack for a listing? So this is related, and why I want to pull it in here, because this is like very important, even if you use a professional service. And this is design. And do not just give your product to a professional photography service and say, do the images. You literally want to design an image stack, like Jordan Lee says here. And you want to look at the competitors doing well and how are those images done, especially that main image. How is everything positioned? The angle of the packaging, all of it needs to be considered. It sounds like really meticulous, but it's so, so critical. You're spending a lot of money on inventory. You have to make this very good. Otherwise, no one knows is ever going to know how good your product is. So you have to represent it well. So Jordan Lee, on this, I look at the main competitors and what they're doing. And that allows you to really establish the highest click-through rate listings. There's also what I use is brand analytics, and I can see the number 1, 2, and 3 clicked ASINs for specific keywords, and that helps me. But I know not everyone has brand analytics with brand registry. So you can just look at the main keywords for your product and the top organic results. That's going to give you best click-through rate. And then on the actual listing, what I would do is brand analytics and look at highest conversion. But what you would want to do is, again, just look at your top organically ranking listings, click into them, and then look at the rest of the images and how they're structured. And follow suit. Of course, you can do better than they're doing and your own twist, but there's going to be specific points you really want to look at, and look at, say, your top 3, and then incorporate the pieces you like most from each, and then your own twist. But usually it's going to give you a very, very good idea. And please do watch the very beginning of this, because we literally went through this with like little images and infographics and stuff. And courses, which Amazon tool would you recommend for me as I'm new in the field? So you need product research and you need keyword research. So the absolute best fusion of those two in one is Helium 10. And then if you're on a strict budget, you could look at something like Jungle Scout. And in the middle is like AMZ Scout. But thinking keywords, Yeah, Helium 10 is such a strong keyword tool suite. That's the thing. But I know it is more expensive. But if you're on a budget, then also take a look at the others. I'll link them below, my absolute favorite ones. But Jungle Scout is going to be cheaper. So Zaid, how do we remove a 1-star review for an FBA item that the customer got damaged, but Amazon was responsible for the shipping? The problem is that Amazon might say, I'm not responsible because you gave it to us damaged. And then there's nothing you can really do. So that's the problem sometimes that happens. However, they do often take responsibility, I have to say. But again, this is like a system thing. It's very difficult for you to overturn. In most cases, when it's damaged, they will take responsibility. But of course, you could reach out to support on this. And then which type of cartons are recommended for sourcing and which Amazon loves? I'll also drop an article on this because there's actually specific sizes of cartons which are absolute limits. Like I don't want to say a number, but there's a certain, centimeterage that they cannot go past. And there's also a certain number of units inside one carton that it can't go past. So I'll put a link there though, because I can't remember off the top of my head. And they also differ for the marketplaces. So as long as they're inside of those, Zubair, you're good. And the second thing is Amazon likes cases. And what I mean by that is a case is exactly the same as a carton in its physical form, but a case has the exact same number of the same product inside it only. So if you're sending 500 units total and you have 10 boxes and 50 of the exact same unit, exact same ASIN, exact same FNSKU, 50 of them in each carton, all cartons are the same size. That's the one I know Amazon loves the most because they can receive it quick. Because they just scan like one of your items, they say, cool, another 49 in there. It goes in your inventory and it's received much quicker. But you have to plan the shipping plan because it obviously has to be in that config. And 123, if I didn't find a listing of the product I want to sell and I create a new listing, will I get penalized by Amazon if they find a listing that I could have just sold under? So not necessarily, not if it's a private label product, which we focus on. So under your own brand name, because of course that would be a new product to Amazon. However, if you like sold a Sony camera or something, which was already listed, I'm not sure how that works because that's not your brand name and that's more like wholesale arbitrage vibe, which I am not an expert on. I don't specifically focus on that. So, but generally, if you like have your own new product idea, develop it, brand it, you would definitely want to create your own new Amazon listing, and that would be absolutely fine. So Kemal, I am not a tax advisor. That's the first thing I always have to say on these. Always check with yours. But a UK firm in the UK market, of course, would have, it's a UK firm, so it's a UK company. So it would have UK corporate tax on profits, once it's running. And then, of course, VAT according to your revenue. If your turnovers at a certain level, you will have to register, collect and remit VAT. Those are the two primary ones. And then, of course, if you have employees, then there's other taxes involved with that. But primarily those two, your kind of sales tax, which is VAT, your corporate tax at the year end when there's profit, and potentially employees. And you got it, Goulet. I only do private label, Bunyad. So I'm not too much help on wholesale. Although I have some friends who do a lot of wholesale as well. Should we run PPC without any reviews, or first get reviews, then go PPC? Go with PPC straight away unless you have some type of review strategy that you're implementing, like with some type of other launch. If you have that, you can get the reviews, then do PPC. But if you don't have something like that to generate reviews, then definitely PPC straight away, because you get reviews from sales. PPC will get you sales, gets you reviews, and it just snowballs and gets better because you keep converting better with more reviews if your product is good. So yes, from the beginning. Yes. Now, real, thank you. Okay. And Zubair, Dan, a lot of love for you. Thank you. I've got a lot of knowledge from you and successfully launched 6 products as a VA, and with your aggressive PPC, I found it benefited or beneficial for 3 products, but not much for 3. Why? That's interesting. And thank you for sharing this as well. There are multiple ways you can do PPC, but that is my preferred strategy. I know of one other strategy, but that is the one in PPC part 1 and 2. It's exactly how I run it to get the data and then optimize. So I'm not sure, but I would love to know like why it benefited 3 and didn't benefit the other 3. Like what was the difference? Or were the 3 that benefited the successful ones and the 3 that didn't benefit not successful? Because again, the key is it's not always PPC. It's sometimes the product. And that's really important to remember. Otherwise, you get into this little cycle like, if I change like a keyword or a bid, then it's going to, but sometimes you just don't have the right product. Like I've had multiple failed products, and at some point you have to say, okay, this didn't work. So, but perhaps the other 3 are successful with a different PPC strategy. How many keywords should be in exact and broad each for a small budget? Exact match, max 30 keywords. Like this exact match campaign, for those who haven't seen that series, like this is like, I want you to think of any product you would go buy on Amazon. Like let's think of one like let's say like a wooden phone docking station. Okay, it's quite a complex one. Wood phone docking station phone wood. How many ways are you going to search for that? Majority. How many ways are the majority of people going to search for a wooden phone docking station? It's under 30. And so as soon as you start going like way past that, you start to get into your way less important keywords that are much less related. So the exact match campaign is meant to find and focus on the absolute best keywords. And once you find those best ones, if you don't convert well on those when you put the ads at the top, it can take some time because it could be reviews. But other than that, it's usually a product issue. You should be converting pretty well on those keywords once you have some reviews. But that's what exact looks for. So 30, Mohammed, max. And broad, I would say the next 30. But I cover the details exactly in that video. But try limit it to your very, very best. So like your best 30 will be in exact, and then the next 30 to 50 would be in broad, and they run to generate other ideas. And so does automatic. But then you push everything to that exact match. And I found that just a lot easier to manage. Yes, that's a good point. Dan, which Amazon tool do you recommend? Because I see you are using different types all the time. And that is true. And I apologize if that's confusing. It's just that I do use all three. So I use Helium 10, Jungle Scout, AMZ Scout for different reasons during the process. And I won't go into like all of them, but some of them show up data beautifully in certain parts of listings and so on. So that is why. And then like some days I want to use one. So that's why you see different ones. It's not like unless it's a sponsored video, which I'll actually always mark up here, like this video is sponsored. So you guys know, and I always tell you if it supports the channel or you can get a discount. But other than that, it's just my preference of what I want to use at the time. I love all of those. So literally AMC Scout, Jungle Scout, Helium 10. I don't think you can go wrong. So, and those are the ones I use most often currently. So between those, we should actually do an updated tool comparison video. But it's really which one you prefer based on the data you can get or where the data shows up, like those on-page data blocks, and price. Comes down to those. AMZ Scout and Jungle Scout are priced really competitively. And then Helium 10, while it does give an exceptional amount of data for what you get, it is more expensive. But courses, those are the ones I would really narrow down on between. And then, of course, features. Like if you 100% need keyword research in this one tool as well, use that as a factor. But I would look through those three. To brand, okay. So Goma, how to enroll child ASINs on brand registry. The parent ASIN is branded. So as long as the child listings insert the same brand name, when you add that listing to Amazon or add a product, when you create the listing, use the same brand registry brand name for the child. And then it should work fine. It should actually auto enroll. If it does not auto enroll, then log into brand registry and then add a product. And you can insert the ASIN or SKU, I believe, in brand registry, and that will enroll it. But auto enrollment is usually quite good from initially when you add the product. The only time it could be a problem is if the child products are not branded, physically. That could be an issue. How to remove negative ratings and reviews. So we had a cool Salarized video on this. It was a sponsored video, but it's a great review management system. I think anyone who watched that will agree. But it actually can automate sending the customers certain contact customer emails, which come from Amazon, when a negative review comes in. And it can automate refunds and things like this, which will help a lot with this. So I definitely reckon check out that video. I'll link it below after this. If a customer leaves you a negative product review or better yet, if a customer leaves you a negative review, okay, so it's left as a product review on the listing, but it's actually to do with your performance, the seller wasn't nice, or shipping took long, or anything that's not specifically product related, then Amazon will actually remove that review because it should have been seller feedback. But other than that, very tough to do, other than using the contact customer feature on Amazon. So you can go, if you can match the review or the rating to the order, go to the order, click the customer's name, and then contact that customer using Amazon's templates. And you can offer them a refund or replacement. And that, of course, is not 100%, but it gives you the chance of them either updating that rating or even removing it. And rum, yes, definitely do the definitely check out the video below on that one. And you got it, Dead Man Walking. Kamal, both PPC and giveaways have the same effect on organic ranking. I mean, if I see 16 CPR and helium-10 and selling 16 products in 8 days with PPC campaign, can I achieve this organic ranking? So the first thing is PPC and giveaways or influencer launches or your social media audience or promoting to your email list. It does not matter where that sale comes from. If you sell for a certain, the only difference is that with PPC, you can select the keyword, but if you're doing a giveaway or from an email or from somewhere else, Facebook ads, if you super URL that, which I'm not suggesting there's rules, but if it comes from a certain keyword, then the product's going to rank much higher for that keyword, the more sales it makes. So that is the only benefit with PPC over the others, is PPC is like choosing a keyword already and then customers are finding it. So any sales you make there on the sponsored one, say your sponsored listing, let's say your sponsored listing's over here. Any sales you make through the sponsored one, your organic one, let's say on page 3, is just going to start moving up the results all the way to 1. And in the same way, all those other sales channels will work the same, provided they are in some way linked to a keyword. If they aren't linked to a keyword, you're still going to rank across all the keywords on your listing, but not as rapidly, because the keyword's not like tied into that sale, if you see what I mean. Yeah. So it's really just, I mean, if you want to work this out, Kemal, look at the organic, wherever you want to organically rank, look at a couple competitors there, maybe across your top 3 keywords. Where are they on page 1? How many sales are they making? You have to make as many sales as that to rank there. In other words, to displace them. And Aurora, definitely check the video out in the pinned comment as well, because I go through the full process. That's really the easiest way I can share that with you. And I'll drop it there right after this, promise. And Dipali, so you're doing FBA fulfillment but no Prime badge. The first thing is, you must be logged into a Prime account, and then that account must have a buyer address in the market. So it's got to look like you can buy at Prime. You see what I'm saying? If you're on your Amazon account and in some way, let's say you're overseas or in a different area, then it's obviously going to limit Prime's ability to offer Prime shipping. So that's an issue. And then another related one, sometimes your offer will be like currently unavailable, but then if you change, let's say, to the West Coast, so your buyer address could be in the East Coast of US. If you change it to the West Coast of US, suddenly your item's available, because Amazon, your product may be available in certain fulfillment centers in the US, for example. Same thing applies to all markets though. But if your address is too far away from like a West Coast fulfillment center, then it might say currently unavailable. This is a really, really good question. So this is something a lot of people are struggling with. And just keep this in mind, even if you aren't struggling with it now, because it probably will happen. So if you're ever adding a product to Amazon, like variations, if the product type, it's called PT, product type, if this is different, like the parent ASIN to the variations, they actually won't like work together. They won't work well together at all. So, and that's because and what Amazon often says is warning, like they don't say product type, they say the attributes for these products are different or don't match. What they're referring to is product type. So this is a very important thing Kati is raising. And these product types, of course, for parent variation or parent child, anything that's the same, these product types on those listings have to be the same. So just an important like side note. But is this important for our sales ranking and PPC? In some way it is. It's more important for what we just talked about, everything working. But secondly, it is important for this somewhat. It's going to be more important in the future because what the product type is it's another way customers can specify their search. And Amazon has been trying to push this more and more, as you might have seen with category sales, etc. But this is a good example of when you search Amazon as a customer, down the one side, you have like only five-star plus, only under £2, only etc. As a customer, you can select. Product type is going to be one of those. It's a way customers can find exactly what they want quicker. So you do want it to be relevant to your type of product. So try and select the correct one. But again, it's not be all end all. You can see what I'm saying. It's going to probably be as valuable as one of those fields down the side, which most people never use. Okay. Jonathan, so what's the most, successful way to get reviews? So I have a way that's very good, but I can't openly recommend it. So I'll link a video below called Review Strategy, because I got a lot of flack for that, but it's basically Amazon Vine, not on Amazon. That's what it is, really. So, but basically focus group launches are very effective in my experience, but I do know some people used that service and didn't have a good experience. My video was simply a test of how I experienced it, and it was very, very good. So I'm just letting you know, some people didn't have the best experience with that platform in terms of results. So take that for what it is, but that was effective. Nowadays, Amazon influencer marketing or Amazon Live, so using influencers on Amazon Live, that seems to be working well. I still need to do a full test of that specifically, but it looks very good. And then, of course, PPC. PPC without reviews, I don't agree with that, but I understand. It is harder to convert. But if you have a magic product with a magic main image, people take the risk on you. Like they will. You see it all the time. So it's, yes, it's not gonna convert as well as if you had some reviews. But if you have a really different, good-looking product with a magic listing, 5% off coupon, you will make sales. Like it just won't be as, if you had 100 5-star reviews. So it's a very good way to still drive sales and then reviews. So, but that is really up to every seller. I would run it. And Zawar, about to launch Q2, would you recommend product targeting on a main competitor if the price images offer everything is better? So product targeting is my personal least favorite ad type out of all of them. But that said, some people have very good results with it. I personally don't find very good results with product targeting ads. It's very often like the lowest performing campaign. I'm not sure if that's because customers are already on, more or less what they want to find, or perhaps they just know they can go back to the results and look elsewhere. I'm not sure why, but personally, I don't find that much benefit in them. But that said, don't not do it because I don't find good results with it. You can test it, but I would say it is, for me, it's not the primary one. It definitely comes after like your exact match PPC campaign. And you just have to make sure that main image really, jumps off the page because they're already on another result. And 1, 2, 3. So you can create a new listing. Having no one else jump onto it, the best way is have a unique product, very difficult to source, very difficult for others to get their hands on. Offer a warranty on somewhere, maybe your last bullet point, offer a warranty that customers can actually redeem. So they land on your warranty page, email, you have their email. If they have problems, they can reach out. Their warranty is activated. You can issue them a refund. No one else can offer the warranty because they aren't the manufacturer. You are the manufacturer. So that's another way to really ward off competitors. And then always put a little TM symbol next to your brand name because people don't know the difference between TM and encircled R. So if it looks like a registered trademark, that's also going to ward people away from jumping on your listing. Individual or case packed shipment, what's the difference? So individual, you can like put anything in your box. So you can put the blue ones, red ones, green ones, even different products, and specify what's in there and send it in. It takes longer for Amazon to receive because they've got to take absolutely everything out that box, scan it, and put it where it needs to go. Case packed is the opposite. So it's saying, okay, all the green ones, they're going in these 50 cartons, the same number of them in each carton. So like 50 green ones in this one, move that away, 50 green ones in this one, etc. And that is a case packed shipment. Every box, same size, same number of the same units. And that, of course, very easy for Amazon to receive because they just take one out when it gets there, scan it, and they say, okay, another 49 in there, and they move it in your inventory. So that's really the big difference. If you're sending in one FNSKU, like one type of product, case packed is the way to go, in my opinion. It's just quicker. And Kemal, thank you. I think this is the maximum single dimension for any side of your carton. And then 23 kgs is the max weight of a single carton. I think that is what this is. But Kemal can confirm that as well. That seems about right, though. Can you please tell me what the heck is buy box wins? I am the only seller, and sometimes it fluctuates between 94 and 100%. I have the exact same thing. So this is not something to worry about. It's buy box wins is every time your product sells, someone wins the buy box. Now it should be you, right? Because you're the only seller. But what happens, unless it's a glitch, but it can't be because we all have this. So what happens is that sometimes a return, a refurbished item, something, a Amazon warehouse deal also gets sold from your listing. And each time that happens, your percentage obviously goes down just a little bit out of the last few sales. So that is why you are likely seeing it fluctuate a little bit there. It's just a used like new, it's just going out again. That is likely why. But it's nothing to worry about. Unless it goes to like, 80. I haven't seen 80. So like that. And again, that might not be something to worry about. It's just then you need to go look at, who's selling on your listing. It will say like new to from $65 or whatever it is. And you click that blue link and it will take you to all the sellers. And hello, CJ. That is awesome. Brand registry increasing conversion rate, and if so, how much? And have you ever used payability? This is really interesting. I think we must all have like shared consciousness, because we had a brand registry like sale conversion question earlier as well. But brand registry, CJ, will not directly impact conversion. But because you have additional features like A+ content, which is a big conversion driver, ability to upload videos, ability to use, sponsored brands and display ads, because of those, it could increase conversion rate. But again, you're not penalized if you don't have brand registry in any way. But for example, products that really benefit from a beautifully laid out A+ content area at the bottom there, they're going to convert a bit better. So I would say it doesn't necessarily increase conversion rate. But if I had to guess, and this is a total guess, but I would say it can't increase it, in terms of the listing. If we just look at A+ content, etc. Maybe no. I can't give an accurate, thing on this, but I'd say it's no more than 20%. That would be extremely high for the increase you get from, video, A+ content, everything. But yeah, doesn't necessarily, but it could well. It depends on your niche and also how well you use those features. For example, if you're selling a camera, then the addition of video and stuff there is huge. And payability, yes. So I use payability. I don't use them anymore. Well, I do, but I don't really. I used it extensively for a few years. It's a very, very good service. They support a lot of countries. They support SA, whereas like World First won't support SA. I'm not sure about TransferWise. And then there's also OFX. So those four. Payability definitely works with Amazon, but you need the business account. And then payability also has a personal account where you get this cool debit card. So really cool service though. If you do use them for like an Amazon connection, ask for a letter of ownership once your account is set up, your business account from your business details. Ask for a letter of ownership or a statement of ownership from payability support. They'll give you that, and that's what you give to Amazon for bank verification. But I loved that service. I still do. Now I use other ones. Jonathan, so I know you've answered this time and time again, but what would you recommend a starting budget for first product? Oh, that's difficult to do off the top of my head, though. I'll link the cost video. I don't know if you saw that, but we recently did one probably 4 weeks ago on this exact thing. It's quite expensive. I mean, if you're going to do, and remember, this is not wholesale, it's not retail arbitrage, private label, you're building your own branded products. If you're doing that, I would say that you need a couple you need a couple grand. Like, I don't think you started with $500. Like, that's at least not in my strategy. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm saying with the way I like to do it, you know, the more quantity you order, the cheaper it is per unit, the more profit you're going to make. So there's all these factors, but I would say $4,000 is a good amount to start with or above. And again, that's also focusing on higher sell price items for a variety of reasons, profit being like the most important one. But that gives you a bit of ability to order a quantity of a product you can sell at a higher sell price. But for the full breakdown, I will link that video as well. And it also depends on which features you include, etc. Like a trademark. Oh yes, CJ, I do remember this. That is awesome. That is excellent. How many daily sales do you make on a product like at that sell price? I would love to know. Wow, that is hard, Remy. So to fine tune optimize PPC campaigns, would you recommend Helium 10 or Celix? So I do not have enough experience with Atomic to make that distinction. But what I will say is Celix is very good. And I have a bit more coming on that. Yeah, I don't want to say more for now, but I have something cool coming with Celix as well. It's it's pricey, but they have some very, very good stuff that I was like skeptical of, but maybe I'm too ancient in my thinking of exact match. But I'll share more on that soon. And Bunyad, yes, I can. Actually, one of them does have a channel. So I'll link that below for you after this. When is a realistic timeline to decide that you should close up shop on one product? PPC is not working. The product simply isn't doing well. There comes a time. So there will be a point where there should be like a shining reason as to why. So I've had this happen as an example where I made the mistake of differentiating for differentiation's sake. Okay, so it wasn't related enough. Like, that was the issue, is I was too far removed and I wasn't taking a bird's eye view. I was too detailed in it and making these changes, but it wasn't valued by the customer. They're like, that's nice, but like, it's kind of weird, like, so I could see quite quickly, okay, this is not a good idea. Like, I made a mistake here and the product's not going to work. Like, because I'm spending more to do that and it's not valued highly. It's not, they'll choose mine, but more like for convenience. So that's a clear problem. So you've got to try find, okay, where was the mistake? And the reason I say this is absolutely critical is because you don't want to just close up that product and go to the next one without knowing what happened. That's the key, because then you can apply it to the next one. I'm never making that mistake again, so that would be the key. And then the big thing though, Jonathan, is you can tell, because if you are priced, let's say, same as others or even lower than others, you have a couple reviews. So it's not really that, like, let's say you have 30 reviews and you're putting it at the very top of results for the best keywords. So you're fully visible. You've optimized the main images, good price, good reviews, and the product's not selling. There's something else. It's not ads, it's the product. And that's the problem. And people, rather than trying to like find a strategy, just, okay, that product's not working. What's the issue? And let's move forward. That's where people have to get to then, rather than there's some service down here that's going to give me the, the keyword strategy. Like, it's sometimes just a product like that. People would rather choose a different one who did it better, and that's fine. But this is why I always recommend do not over order. Don't get stuck with 2,000 units of inventory. Like, it's good if you're confident on the idea, but rather test it out with 300, 500, 700 rather than 3,000. Because if you run out of stock time, reorder, that's a lesser evil than it doesn't work and you're stuck with 2,500 units you can't move. That is the most difficult position. So just, that's the biggest thing. It's never the wrong product. It's too much of the wrong product. So I hope you don't have too much inventory, but hopefully you can outline why is it, as long as you've optimized all the areas we went through, it's visible, but it's not selling. What's the issue? And then you can make a decision from there. Oh, yes. And guys, I am like going through these a little bit too, the ones for time. So how do we resolve when Amazon demands a picture for brand registry? What's the right method to show the word mark? So what Zubair is asking here is, sometimes if you put your brand that is in brand registry on the product, or you actually select it when adding a product to Amazon, Amazon will say, okay, that's great, but we want proof that this product actually bears this trademark. We want you to send us pictures. So the first key is they must not be professional pictures. They've got to be like an unprofessional image, so like with you having the product just in your hand, that's what you're looking for. That's what they want to see. So it must be unprofessional images, and they must show the word mark there, and that is your brand name. Like, let's say it was Zubair. And then the second thing is, sometimes they actually want to see the UPC on the product, which is very strange because you probably have an FNSKU on the product. But in that case, you can also go on like GS1 or wherever you got your UPC code and print that label or download it as a PDF, send it to your supplier, have them affix that to the product, even if temporarily. But then you show Amazon pictures of the product, again, unprofessional, with the brand name and the UPC on the product. But sometimes the UPC is also asked for. But Zubair, that should allow you to get through that one. Okay. So Remy, so my listing is ranked on page 1 for the main keywords. Can I already decrease PPC spend? So that's a really good question. And people always get nervous about decreasing the spend because then, what if sales slow down? And they do sometimes slow down. But yes, you can begin decreasing the spend. The best way is, let's say you're ranking middle to top of page 1 for a keyword, then decrease the PPC spend and take up a position top of page 2. And that way, or bottom of page 1. But this way, you take up more real estate rather than having your ad and organic, on at the top of page 1. So you can pay less and take up more real estate. Customers can find you in more places. So yes, you can definitely begin doing this. Don't drop it off completely. Just decrease it. Check your positions on your major keywords, and that should save your spend as well and can increase sales as well. And you got it, Kemal and Dipali. Thank you. And Kati. And that's awesome, Tyler. I wish you the best with it. Be sure to join us again. Let us know how it all goes. Yes, there is. Can you get demographics, psychographics, gender, location? Yes. So, but you need brand registry. But in brand analytics, you can see all of this. Like I can look at customer demographics. I can look at if they're married. I can look at their income. I can look at like all these weird things. It's a bit creepy, but Amazon tracks it all. It's all there. So you can see all of this stuff. It's quite cool. So is it a good idea to bundle two giftable decor items together? They sell well separately, but do we put them together? Both low reviews, high sales, and showing up organically first page. So Rami, my question would be, are they both yours? If they're both your items, because there's something else we can do then. If they're both yours, then you can actually create a virtual bundle on Amazon, and you don't have to send in the new fused inventory stock. You can leave it all exactly as is. You create a new virtual listing on Amazon Seller Central. You link both those ASINs to it. And anytime a customer buys this new virtual bundle listing, then Amazon will ship both those pools of stock to the customer. So they still get both, but just not in one package, and you don't have to ship in a whole new bundled inventory. If you're talking more from a position of, I see these two other sellers' giftable items, should I put them together? That's a hard, I cannot answer that properly because I just don't know. But as I covered earlier, just be really careful of differentiating for differentiation's sake. That's the key. But good indications, if you see like a lot of frequently bought together of these two items, so you go on the one, you see the other frequently bought, you go on this one, you see the other one frequently bought together, that's a good sign. Also, if people mention it in reviews. So those are good signs, but they're not always 100%. It's got to make sense from a high level. Like go ask someone in that your ideal customer. Go find them on the street and ask them, would you buy this at this price? And you can also use view test, by the way. I'll link view test below. I've got to try to remember everything to link, but it allows you to create a mock-up image and actually insert it on Amazon results with the review count price on the actual results page. Then you can show someone that page and ask them. Really cool tool. Okay, and guys, I'm just looking through here for time. We're already 90 minutes. And thank you guys for staying on as well. Let's go with this. So what do you recommend when running out of inventory? Do you leave the listing selling, or do you close the listing or pause PPC? So for me, I know a lot of people in this situation will actually like pause PPC and try slow down sales to like limit the amount of out of stock time that's coming. But my strategy on it at least is I will continue like absolutely normal. And then, however, there's one caveat to this, which I'll get to. But my normal strategy is I continue exactly as normal because sales velocity is good. And when we run out with high sales velocity, immediately as we run out, when there's zero available, we close the listing. So just edit, close. And that Amazon will preserve some of that sales velocity. So when we get back in inventory, the available goes up, we say relist, and Amazon remembers a bit of that sales velocity. So it helps you get your ranking back. But there's one caveat here which might be useful now, which is if you're ever going to test out, how high can you press the price? This is the time to do it because, and I'm not talking about raising it drastically. I'm talking raise it like $1, wait 2 days, 3 days, $1, etc. But just to monitor, because of course it's going to slow sales slightly, but it's a very good time in which to test that. And this is the time a lot of us need to test this, especially as shipping rates are through the roof. We've got to do it somehow. We have to stay in business. So it's a good time to actually test that. That's what I would say on this. But again, don't do like dramatic, do not raise your price like $10 in a day because you can lose the buy box. So just be very careful of that. You never want to look like you're overcharging your customers because Amazon can take the buy box away. And if they do that, you can't run PPC and it's very difficult to get the buy box back. So you don't want that. I had that. And yes, sir, those will come. I just have a good few weeks left of testing that. And you got it 1, 2, 3. And that's awesome, CJ. Because that's another huge benefit of that higher price is that you can have lower sales, but still great profit because you have decent profit on every unit. Yes, I agree with that. You need brand registry for a premium product like that. And that's awesome. Proudly South African. Awesome. I'm sure that's also much lower competition as you go up the price levels. So that's very, very cool. I'm in a competitive niche, but I have a good amount of inventory, cash flow for PPC. That's very good. That's like the key. So how much should I spend daily on PPC? It really depends on the market. So I know I keep saying that, but it's very difficult to say. Most markets, $200 is going to be a really significant budget. $300. When you get to like $400 or $500 a day, that's like the most competitive kind of areas. Like you're going to run majority of the day in a competitive area. So, another way, Gail Herm, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but is set all your bidding strategies to, what do they call it? So they dynamic bids down only. And dynamic bids down only, Amazon's never going to go above your bid, but they may come down. And in this way, you can set a higher budget, but Amazon won't spend all of the budget, maybe. So that's another way is you can actually, if you have enough capital, you can test what the ideal budget is because you won't be running out of budget ever. And then you'll know, okay, that's the level. And yes, I definitely can because you do not want to lose the buy box. Why raise the price $1 at a time? Like $1, wait, $1, wait. Because Amazon is all about customer experience. They want their customers having the lowest price possible. This is why if you also sell your product on your website or your manufacturer suggested retail price, MSRP on your listing, both those website MSRP must be higher than your price on Amazon, always. Because otherwise, you're not giving Amazon customers the best deal. In the same way, if you raise the price drastically, let's say $10 today, and then you get no sales for whatever reason, or just much slower sales for some reason. Amazon's algorithm, it's not a person, is going to look at it and go, oh, they raised the price, no one's buying, they're overcharging. And then they take the buy box away. Sometimes, like it did happen to me. It's a nightmare to get back. So you don't want to do that. If you raise it, like here's my strategy. So I'll raise it $1. I'll make sure ads are very aggressive. I get sales at the next price. And then I'll raise it $1 like 2 days later, and I'll make sure ads are, top of page one, get some sales at the next price. So I keep telling the algorithm, this price is okay. This price is fine. People accept this price. And that way you keep your buy box. Because if you lose the buy box, the problem is you can't run PPC ads. So now you can't run ads, but you need to get sales to get the buy box back. But you can't run ads. So you have a major problem. It's not, do not risk it. Please do not raise your price quickly. You don't want to be there. It's not fun. Okay, guys. Okay. Okay, let's go. Yeah. So Jean, I have 8 reviews, but my competitor has 4,000 and up. So that's a lot. I spent $700 for PPC, but my sales was 3 orders, $60. I sell 30-ounce tumbler for $21.77. What should I do? So that's tough, Jean. Like, it's tough. What I would say is, like, please also check out some of the training we do here, just like on some stuff for the future. My big question to you would be, how many units do you have of this product? That's what I would ask, because there's 2 problems with it. And I don't mean to be problem focused, but one is reviews seem very high, very competitive. I'm not sure if your tumbler is different to those. And thirdly is the price is very low, because as you've probably seen, PPC is expensive, fees are expensive. So a lower price gets eaten up much quicker by all of that stuff than a higher one. But that's problem. Solution, I would say, Jean, number 1 is lower the price and try and move the stock. Number 2 is try Amazon outlet deals and outlet sales. You can go into any inventory planning dashboard in Seller Central, like inventory health. And on this ASIN, have a look if outlet deals or sales are eligible for this ASIN. You'll find it there. And in the filters, you can filter by outlet deals or sales. If you can run those, run them. Outlet deals are the better ones, but both work. And that's going to heavily discount your product for customers. And if that doesn't work, then if it's really not moving, you could look at FBA liquidations. So you create a removal order on Seller Central, and the removal procedure, you set that as liquidations. And then wholesale liquidators will purchase your inventory. You'll make some of your cash back, but it will move it quickly so you can move on. But that is the next option there. And then you also have liquidation strategies outside of Amazon, like Rebate has a liquidation strategy as well. And you can do a very similar type thing there. So those are 3 other options in terms of liquidating, moving it quickly. But my big question would be how many units? And that's why you always want to try on the first order, don't order too much stock. But lots of good lessons in this as well. And Neelan, this is cool. So I have a US LLC owned by my SA company. Do you think it's a good setup? What's the best way to pay myself? So it is a cool setup because essentially, and again, I'm not a tax advisor, lawyer, or any of those things. This is just entertainment. But the SA company is a single owner. So if you have like a partner, by the way, so like if Neelan and someone else are partners in this business and they own the US LLC, it's not a single owner. It's not a non-resident single owner LLC. That makes the US LLC a bit more complicated. But if you have partners and a company in your country, and that company owns the LLC, then the LLC is it's a non-resident single owner LLC because the other company owns it. Even though there's two partners at the company, one company owns it. So it's a non-resident single owner, which has advantages. So that's the cool thing there. Do I think it's a good setup? In terms of that, if you have a partner, yes. Additionally, yes, because even if you didn't, what you have to do at this point of who owns your US LLC is you have to look at, okay, what's the personal tax environment in my country? What's the company tax environment in my country? And then, which is better. So I think it may well also be better in terms of that. And then US LLCs pass through vehicles, so that's going to pass through to the SA. And then the SA company can either you can earn a salary from the SA company, or you could declare dividends at year end. Once the company is profitable post-tax, you could declare dividends then to you or you and your partner. Those are other options, but an accountant, CPA, or tax advisor will be able to give you concrete advice. This is just my rumblings. So don't listen to a guy on YouTube about this stuff, but those are just some thoughts. Well done setting it all up. I remember when I first set up from SA, it was I don't even think this system was possible then. All right, guys, I'm going to close up because we're already at 1 hour 47. But thank you so much for all of your questions. And if you stayed on this long, again, I'm going to put all the resources we mentioned below. If I did direct you to a video, I don't mean to just direct you elsewhere. It's really because that's where I can cover it properly. It's quite difficult as, just a talking head to cover complex processes here. But I really appreciate all of you joining. Please give this a quick like if you did enjoy it, if it was helpful. And remember to subscribe to the channel. Help us get to 40,000 subscribers. But I really appreciate each and every one of you, and persevere through the shipping and other crises. But thank you again for joining. I will see you guys in the next video, and have an awesome Friday and weekend. I'll see you guys soon.